And the Lebanese government says it expects to make its formal request for the International Peace Force later tonight.
The Italian contingent to the peacekeeping force assembled in the port city of Brindisi today. They, like the French and Americans, were waiting for the order to proceed to Beirut. Military sources here say they don't expect that order until the end of the week. Meanwhile, in the eastern Mediterranean, ships of the French fleet were preparing to carry the French contingent to Lebanon. And ships of the American Sixth Fleet, including the aircraft carrier Forrestal, were seen just 40 miles from Beirut. It will take the Italians at least 4 days to sail to Lebanon once their order is received. The American, Italian, and French ambassadors to Lebanon will then decide when the troops will take to the streets and where the troops will be deployed. And most important, who will assume overall command in what is a delicate and possibly dangerous mission.
Beirut Radio reports tonight that the PLO has begun preparing for its withdrawal. There are still lingering fears, however, that extremist elements of the PLO may refuse to leave.
At the PLO office in one of the most devastated districts of West Beirut, no one yet seems to be giving too much thought to packing up. PLO men were passing the time reading about the plans for their evacuation in the newspapers. Yet in a few days' time, the PLO is supposed to start moving out of West Beirut for good. But according to their official spokesman, the PLO fighters haven't yet been given orders to withdraw.
We are still discussing, and we will give the answer back to the Lebanese Prime Minister.
But are PLO fighters now beginning to pack up and preparing to go?
Not yet.
But will the PLO really pull all its forces out of the city? It's thought certain factions may yet try to put up a fight. It's thought others will try to melt away into the back streets. That's why the Israelis are insisting that if there is evidence of large numbers of PLO men staying behind, then the peacekeeping force must stand aside, so that the Israelis may pursue what they euphemistically call the military option. Beirut's troubled days may not be over yet.
French President François Mitterrand has vowed to end the current spate of terrorism in France while maintaining an even-handed policy on the Lebanon crisis. He says internal security will be improved and a new ministry set up to coordinate the fight against terrorism. His pledge follows criticism by Israel's Prime Minister Menachem Begin that France is encouraging terrorist attacks, many of them against Jews, by creating an atmosphere of hostility towards Israel. But Mr. Begin was unmoved by President Mitterrand's pledge and expressed outrage at the French leader's statement that the PLO has earned the right to fight for a homeland. Strong earthquakes have rocked the Mediterranean. One shock off Capo Spadavento caused panic in parts of southern Italy after midnight. The other, 480 kilometres south of Athens, registered 6.5 on the Richter scale. So far, there are no reports of casualties or damage. An apartment block explosion in the Spanish coastal resort of Luzanfo has killed 10 people. 11 others were injured in the blast, blamed on a faulty gas tank in a ground-floor restaurant.
Rescue teams are continuing to dig through the rubble for 2 more people believed missing. All the casualties are Spanish, except for a 16-year-old Irish boy on summer holidays in the town. One of those killed was 38-year-old former Real Madrid soccer star Rafael de Diego, along with his mother, wife, and twin 9-year-old sons, and the family maid. The force of the explosion also demolished 2 small adjoining buildings.
Mudslides caused by torrential rain have killed 4 people in Hong Kong. 2 others are missing. More than 90 slides have hit the colony, accompanied by widespread flooding. Heavy rains have also caused widespread devastation in the American state of Tennessee. Floods have claimed 2 lives and destroyed more than $1 million worth of crops.
In the center of the state, near Chattanooga, flash floods have washed away cars, wrecked roadways, and knocked down bridges. Rock and mudslides have overturned 1 train and brought rail services in the region to a standstill. Authorities are continuing to issue warnings as new flash floods appear, but hardest hit are farmers in the central and east Tennessee who say it will be weeks before they know how much damage was done.
3 people, 2 children and a policeman are reported dead in rioting in the Indian city of Bombay. Troops have been rushed in to quell trouble, which erupted when rebellious police halted morning rush-hour trains, stranding thousands of commuters. The police union is reportedly angry over the dismissal of 22 of its members and the suspension of 90 others in a row with the state government. Irish Prime Minister Charles Haughey is refusing to resign despite a scandal which has rocked his minority government. Attorney General Patrick Connolly quit after a wanted double murderer was found in his home. But the Prime Minister insists Connolly was the victim of a tragic and bizarre mischance.
Despite the ignominious departure of an Attorney General who was a close personal friend, the Prime Minister presented a confident, jaunty front. For 20 minutes, he parried questions about why he'd allowed the Attorney General to leave for New York on the day a man who lived in his flat was charged with 2 murders.
Labour in the public service. The situation was unprecedented, and as I say, when I learned the full facts on Saturday, then I decided that he should return, and I suggested to him that he do so. But after all, as I say, he is a major constitutional person. Normally in those circumstances, it is to him I would turn for advice as to what should happen. So that in the circumstances when he said to me that he would prefer to go on to New York and think about the situation and deal with it, and there I agreed.
Mr. Connolly, returning early today after resigning, lapsed into distinctly non-legal language.
How do you do? Will you could you talk to us tomorrow morning, please? I have a statement in the paper tomorrow morning.
It was in Mr. Connolly's penthouse here that 36-year-old Malcolm MacArthur was arrested and later charged with 2 murders. Today there were more disclosures. Twice last week, before his arrest, MacArthur, a Cambridge graduate, was chauffeur-driven in the Attorney General's state car by an armed policeman. Investigation into other murder cases goes on, including inquiries within the gay community. The government is anxiously hoping there'll be no further revelations.
Argentina's hero of the Falklands War, Brigadier Basilio Lamidoso, has been replaced as Air Force Chief. His successor is Brigadier Augusto Jorge Hughes, whose appointment is seen as an attempt by the ruling junta to patch up a rift within its ranks.
Brigadier Lamidoso, seen here farewelling his men, was the only Argentine military chief to come out of the Falklands War with his reputation still intact. His pilots provided the only effective resistance to the British offensive, inflicting heavy losses on the British fleet at great personal sacrifice. The brigadier was forced to step down after criticizing President Piñone, who he accused of having second thoughts about fulfilling his promise for a return to civilian rule by 1984. Despite his popularity with the armed forces and the public, the brigadier stopped short of supporting a rebellion, and he now appears content to fade gracefully from public life.
Falling US interest rates have kicked off a stock market boom on Wall Street, where trading records have been shattered in a wave of buyer confidence. The boom was prompted by analysts' predictions that interest rates are soon to fall even further.
It was an astonishing day on Wall Street, the biggest one-day jump in stock prices ever, as measured by the Dow Jones Industrial Average, up 38.81 points to 831.24. The second highest trading volume ever, almost 93 million shares. All of this unleashed by investors' expectations that interest rates, which have been falling for a couple of weeks, will keep right on falling. When interest